Welcome in, everyone. Before we get into this morning's live, I want to go over a few points of interest that I think are going to be important in this morning's live. I'm a couple minutes late because I was finishing my morning weightlifting and I didn't want to interrupt it. I tried to time it perfectly, but 5-6 minutes late, not too bad. I'm still at home today. My son's not back at school yet, but his fever did break, so he woke up this morning. He doesn't have a fever anymore, didn't have to have any kind of medicine. Just so what's going around, like I said, at his school, they had RSV, strep throat, influenza A and B were at his school, but he tested negative for all 4 of them, and COVID he was negative for. But he's home. He might probably be out the rest of the week. Definitely not looking to send him back to a school that has all that going around. I'm not a newbie here. Thanks, Tom. Chevy, I appreciate you being a newbie. I see some of the Kubiaks are in. Joseph and Jennifer Kubiak, thank you both for being in here and being in Tom's army. Ring Thane, Jorge, thank you both, along with Craig for being in Tom's army. I appreciate all of that support. Zach, welcome in from South Africa. I want some ICP. It's undervalued. I'll have to take a look at ICP. I used to cover it quite often. Let's see. Let's take a look at ICP real quick, just so I don't forget to look at it later. There's also one that I have been pretty interested about. I mean, it's on the, well, it's part of the optimism, but let's see what's going on here with ICP. Ooh, it definitely has fallen out, hasn't it? Wow. I haven't looked at this since it had the breakout in the November, December area when it came all the way up to the market cap was 7.47 billion. So it's come down a little bit in the market cap, that's for sure. Let's get into a actual chart. We're gonna have to redo this because when I have it on my phone compared to when I have it on here, it looks completely different. But you're right, this is definitely coming down into the lowest, down in the low areas. So, ooh, this is tough. We'll get into this after because I got a lot of stuff to talk about, but I'm gonna have to. We'll do a whole scale ICP chart. I'm gonna have to here, I'll put that on there. As this goes on, if I can get through to the back end of this, we're gonna look at ICP because that's definitely getting down there towards the very interesting levels. But with XRP, let's talk about XRP very quickly. So there's a couple things we have to talk about. Some of you might have seen it in the title and recognize what I was talking about. So on the XRP Bitcoin pairing, we had the emergence. Let me pull this up. We have the emergence here in the weekly of a golden cross. This is huge, guys, against Bitcoin, and this isn't a small time frame. So on that big drop in this weekly, we came down and back tested the golden cross versus Bitcoin. That means XRP is looking to surge against the price of Bitcoin. Whether that means Bitcoin's going to have a dramatic drop or we're going to have a pump and XRP is just going to dramatically outperform Bitcoin. But this is the most technical indicator you're going to find on a breakout because this is a longer term pattern formation. Now, this is a golden cross in the weekly. Does anybody in the audience understand the significance of this weekly golden cross here on the XRP Bitcoin pairing? I was going to talk about it yesterday, but we validated the back test. And now this is unbelievable. So I want to know if some of you understand the significance of a golden cross, especially in the weekly. We're not talking about a 4-hour or even the daily time frame. We're talking about on the weekly time frame. So a golden cross means that you're having a short-term pattern reversal if it's in the smaller time frames. When you start to get into the weekly and the monthly, you have a trend reversal, which means we're continuing out versus Bitcoin. So if this does break out on the XRP Bitcoin pairing, which it already has, and now it's back tested this golden cross, the technical move out, let's just say we go up to the 0.00051110. That's the short term, but that is a descending consolidation here. And the fact we broke out of this, it seems to me that we could in the long term end up turning this into an inverse pattern. And what that would look like, and this is just projecting out in the future, which we often do here if you're part of the community. Back tested the golden cross on the weekly. If this does play out, you could have some kind of surge where you start to do this and then trickle back and back test. and then start bouncing even more. This could be the start of a unbelievable volatile moment for XRP. Like if this does in fact hold, which it looks like it is, like that back test on the Goldencross is huge. I mean, absolutely huge. And the fact that it did it so quickly, like you're talking about having just on this weekly candle, a 31% move down versus Bitcoin to back test the emerging, basically going ballistic here for XRP. If that's one indicator, I get very, 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 very bullish if that holds. And that doesn't mean right away XRP has to jump. But what that means is it's telling us in time that XRP is looking to be very volatile versus Bitcoin to the up direction. Now, that doesn't mean Bitcoin has to fall off, but what it means is XRP looks like it's going to surge awfully hard versus Bitcoin. There's three things we need to look at here. Good morning, Julie. My love is in the audience. But there's things we need to discuss as well. So with Bitcoin, on the Bitcoin dominance, we talked about this yesterday, which is why it's vital to be in every single TA that I do if you can. That's a bearish pennant. Now, that doesn't mean it has to break down, but if this breaks to the downside, or if this at least doesn't give credence and break out of here. Now, it does show a short-term possible sneak above the 72%, as I've talked about, if this does break out. Doesn't mean that it has to go all the way, but that's definitely a bearish pennant right there. You have the higher highs, lower lows, and you're coming in through a bear flag setup, or a bearish setup on a drop. And if this breaks down in time, I always talk about the 28 to 32 time frame. This is how you get it. So if this breaks down, and by 2032, Bitcoin would seemingly be at the end of its life cycle as far as dominance. And then if it broke down true, it would come down here. Now, the problem is, if it breaks bullish out of this, now you're talking about the possibility of this coming up to like 96.27% of all money being in Bitcoin. Now, we ran a scenario yesterday where right now we're at about a $3 trillion market cap. What if 96% gets put into Bitcoin, but because of the transformation they do, we have like a several quadrillion dollar market cap? Well, obviously there'd be something to be spread around, but if this does go the way it seems, it feels like the Ponzi scheme has to end eventually for Bitcoin. 2032, oh my God, goodness, no. Well, just say you don't like useful information instead of being a dick about it. But 2032, that's the setup of the pattern. 28 to 32, so you can take that information or you can make fun of me for giving you it. You guys have the choice in the audience, honestly. But if you don't want to hear the information, you're probably in the wrong spot, to be honest with you. Bitcoin is still set up within this, it's still bullish on the top side. It's still bullish on the top side. We're still on the outside of the symmetrical triangle. Looks like it has a cup and handle setup. You looked at as a cup and handle setup. And then we have the breakout attempt, which I don't want to have that right there. I just want to show this in the short term. And then if Bitcoin does break out, we have the short term. And I like that 114,000 area. And then obviously for what I've been talking, I'm going to delete this. What I've been talking about is that we could have a pattern finish at 122,000. That was at the initial cup and handle when this pattern first started. That's our technical move. And now in the back end here, it's kind of validated it for us. But we'll see if Bitcoin breaks down or if it can continue pushing out. So yeah, that's what I see there. But then for XRP, now that we know, we're in a broadening wedge now for XRP. And like, we started off in a pennant. It broke out. It started to materialize into something more. But yesterday when I showed what I was thinking, some of you were here, some of you weren't. Let's see. Oh, I may have took it the wrong way, but I was just being blunt. Like, that's the information. Take it for what it's worth. I told you guys there's 700 different people that come in here, high and low emotion. So sometimes it's hard to differentiate when you guys are being fair or you guys are being foul. Fair or foul. So, let's see. Daily. I do think that's what we ended up breaking into. I think we ended up pushing into a broadening wedge. I think that's the truth. I don't think there's any other way to look at this. I think we have a broadening wedge, and it validated it with that drop down. I think that's the best way to look at this chart. I think that will save us from having all of these weird feelings here, and we can just go from an actual pattern setup here. Like, it does feel like that. It really does. It feels like we're in a broadening wedge. You got 2 hits on resistance and higher time frames. You got 2 hits on support on lower or the higher time frames for support. Does that seem right to you guys? I feel like we did. We broke into a broadening wedge. That's why we talked about this yesterday. Oh, I hear what you're saying, Corn. So I just didn't want to elaborate on what I was saying. I tried to break out of that mindset. Because when you said that, that's why I stepped back. But yeah, I mean, it's a long wait, but we started this talk in 2021, so we're 4 years closer, but nobody says it has to wait until the very end. That's just the end of that pattern. The XRP descending wedge decided to wait all the way until the very end, the last possible moment to break out. So if this, you know, emulates it at all, you're going to have a similar scenario. But anyhow, let's see. Can you give a small algo update before you? Absolutely. Absolutely, I can. Oh, we got some up and down personalities in the comments today, huh, Julie? We got those up and down personalities in the comment today. Let's see. So if this is a broadening wedge, well, yeah, I have to say I think, folks. It's me talking. I think, because I'm the one thinking and speaking it. I can't say you think this, or the world thinks this, or some other influencer thinks this. This is my thinking. So you are correct. That's exactly how I say it, because it is me thinking it. Would you like me to say the alien force is thinking it? I see some people also say, oh, that's your opinion. Correct. You're in my show. Don't you want my opinion, or would you like me to share Michael Saylor's opinion for you? Like, I think if you come here, you want to hear my opinion, honestly. I don't think you want to hear somebody else's. So you're correct. I'm going to share my observation, and I'm going to share my understanding of what I'm seeing. It's served me very, very well so far. Now, if you'd like me to share, you know, Jim Cramer's perspective or some other person's, you know, I gladly will, but you're not going to be happy because you're going to lose all your money. Huh?
Somebody said Tom Gold's price should have your next target.
Oh, they do? You kidding me? But no. Somebody said the price of gold should make my nipples hard. Who says they didn't? Who says it hasn't? Look at gold at 2,872. I've been trying to push the gold, silver, and commodities on that big dump because nobody was talking about it. It's exploding. It's awesome. Commodities and stuff are doing very well right now. Oh, yeah, I've got silver, gold. I've got... And then I just have the commodities I own. I have Barrick gold that broke $17 today. I have B2 gold that's over $250. I have First Majestic that's down 1.7%, but it's up big the last few days. And then Fortuna Silver Mines is up to $5.32 right now.
Somebody said you make their nipples hard.
I make your nipples hard? Now that's a compliment. And as the audience always says, no gay stuff, of course. Look at that. We're making each other's nipples hard today, huh, Julie? At least we got Julie cracking up. That's how we know we have a good vibe today. Somebody said no Diddy. See, we made Julie cry. Well, cry in tears, a good way. She's got to deal with me every single day, so this is a common occurrence where I make her laugh out of control. I always say something stupid. 12:34 today, XRP's taking off. Who's that? That is your mom, I think.
Hi. No.
Oh, But anyhow, the price of silver is going to do absolutely fantastic. It will in time. But like, I felt like evolving the pattern for XRP. Like, I understand it's set up like this, and I have the old way that it was set up, but doesn't it really, like, to me, it seems like it did create this broadening wedge. Like, I don't hide from the analysis, but it really seems like it put something like this in. Like, does that make sense to anybody? Like, instead of just having a pennant flag breakout in the back test, it kind of feels like it did something like that. $3,000 per ounce on silver. I would love that. 100x from here. I would like that. But I do feel like this is probably how we should be looking at XRP. I know it's not the sexiest way to look at it. I know it's not looking at it out of the pennant flag or the back test. But why not give the evidence it's giving us? Maybe it was just premature to call it a pennant flag and then it got consolidated within. You know? I honestly, what do you guys think about that? Like, if we look at it, and you only need 2 hits on each side, the legend of a broadening wedge. That's the truth. So, and there are bullish and bearish broadening wedges. A broadening wedge, when you come in off of a flag pole, or like a pole on the way up, it'll have the broadening wedge consolidation as a bullish continuation. Conversely, if it's breaking down on like a bearish setup, and then you go into the broadening wedge, that's just kind of like the consolidation to a continuation down. But with what I'm seeing right now, this doesn't look like a bearish breakdown, at least at the moment. But, you know, obviously if it breaks down, it breaks down. But you always look at it in the direction it's coming from. So the fact we came into it from a bullish setup, like it looks like we came into it, you know, you're coming on the up direction. And now we're creating this broadening wedge. And you start up bigger, bigger, bigger. Now let's see. We came up. And this is the beauty of technical analysis. It changes every single day. And if you have the understanding of the charts, you can stay ahead of them. Boom, 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 boom. Now does it come back out? Right? I mean, it's starting to do this. And it gets bigger. It's a broadening wedge. So support or resistance to support. You had a spacing of about $2.91. Here, I'll show you an easier way. I'll take out the percentages so that you guys can all see the difference on each volatile swing. So right now, from here to here, you had a 30% drop, 32%. On the pushback up from here back to resistance after a 32% drop, you had a 77% rise. So 32% drop, 77% surge, and now from the top you had a 46.5% drop. This speaks volumes of a broadening wedge. Very volatile, and it has wider hits each time it expands. Right now we have higher highs, lower lows. I mean, it looks like a broadening wedge. It looks like a broadening wedge. It feels like a broadening wedge, and it's slapped us in the face and created this pattern, but I really believe that's what it did. I feel like that's what it did, and it's trying to tell us that. And if that's the case, we're in good shape here. Oh, yeah, life is very volatile. The stars align in the shape of Brad Garlinghouse's face at 12:34. I don't even know. Well, I mean, if that's the case, that might be what it takes. Legislation on clarity in the crypto market is going to break the charts. The upside. Oh, you know what? There's one other token I wanted to talk about, you guys, because I've been, and it's on the, it's part of the optimism chain. I don't even know if any of you know what optimism is, but you guys know what Velo is. Have any of you ever looked into Velodrome? Because basically Velo is like the, I don't want to call it the governance token of Velodrome, but that's like the entire ecosystem of you know. So I've been very fascinated with Velodrome for a long time. And I started to, on these drops, actually acquire some of Velodrome because it came so far down. It literally came through the floor, which is what I was waiting for. And I'm not going to divulge how much my goal is to get in this, but I'm definitely starting to pay attention to it now that it's had this monthly breakdown. Now, if it can break through part of the, we'll talk about this later. I just wanted to know if anybody in my audience had an interest in Velo drone like I do. I don't often speak of it, but when things start coming down into lowest of lows, I start talking about it to the audience if I'm interested in it. Man, gold and silver and stuff is Mimi. Gold's up to $2,875 an ounce.
Oh my goodness.
I know, craziness. I remember talking to you about it at 1,600, just like 2 years. Wow. People started to talk about Block V somehow related to XCN. In Tom We Trust, says Whale Josie Wales. Thank you for the $4.99 donation. I think that's the first donor. I love it. XPR Proton. Yeah, we've talked about XPR. It's just I can't find it anywhere that I have it. I do like Proton. We've talked about it. It used to be on an exchange I used, but then it disappeared. But the main things that I am bullish about today, just for anybody watching, the main things that I am very excited about. One, don't underestimate what's going on in the XRP Bitcoin pairing. If you weren't here when I started this live, have I even done the intro yet, Julie? I don't think I did the intro. Guys and gals, did I do the intro? What's wrong with him asking about CBCN? That's the ZBAC network. If you guys don't understand the ZBAC, there's a reason he's excited about it. Once I started to learn about it and I seen exactly what its agenda is, like it literally is to take traditional finance and turn it into the next gen and the digital. And it's not just for like me and you, it's for businesses, invest. It's so much stuff that it can bring your money off of a traditional, traditional system. He's my friend. I'm joking with him. Fair enough. Fair enough. I was just wondering because I like CBCN. Am I missing something? That's what I bought nipple flag merch. I could see that. But okay, so I didn't say the intro. So let me do the intro, and then we're gonna keep talking about this Goldencross that's emerged on the back test. It not only is a Goldencross, it validated, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna go into the Goldencross by definition as well. So good morning, 10:21 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Wednesday, February 5th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire with the side bet on XLM Future Digibyte OG, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Oh, UB2 Saab, welcome in, my friend. And Tom's on me for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Yes, I was showing your stuff on the air yesterday because I just fascinated with your work. So, oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad that you've seen that. I don't know. You've always supported my work, and I wanted to support yours as well. So, you are welcome for the gift. You are welcome. Well, we don't speak of that stuff. I'm just glad I was able to show your content. I think it's fascinating. I'm glad that you actually put one out yesterday, too. I was trying to explain to the audience with your cloud art and your art that you're actually taking pictures and working into your own style art, which I think is really cool. So anyhow, this Goldencross before I forget, but I'm glad to see you in here, my friend. I'm really glad to see you in here, UB2B. That's our meme genius, by the way. Going all the way back to 2021. So, this Goldencross here. Oh, it's so awesome how you do that. Always been a big fan. I try to share it, but people come, people go. But the last time I seen you only had, well, you've gained several hundred subscribers since the last time that I had seen your content. And when I seen it, I'm like, yeah, all right, he's making it up there now. I like it. So anyhow, the Goldencross. So let's get it by definition. But the Goldencross, basically, so if you have a short-term pattern or a long-term breakdown, you're too kind, UB2B. But if you have a long-term breakdown, and then you start reversing, like how we had the 7-year descending wedge, now we broke out, right? It takes time for the weekly to catch up because you have to reverse the death cross, then the bearish crosses, then you have to make the bullish cross, and then eventually when the 20 crosses the 200-day moving average, it's defined as a Goldencross. that means the pattern is flipped short term. Well, once you get into the weekly in the Golden Cross, you are basically on the move. You know, you are basically on the move if you can make this happen with the Golden Cross. So let me get the Golden Cross in because we already talked about the broadening wedge. But this is the only way that I can teach everybody. I can talk about it, but sometimes I'm a visual learner myself. So if I'm speaking and seeing, it sinks in a lot easier. So if I get a visual, I don't need anybody to say anything. If I can see it in my mind, I can understand what's going on. There's different ways to look at the Golden Cross. We're looking at it through the exponential moving average. So Golden Cross pattern through EMA, 20, 50, 100. Because there's different ways. You can have different setups. Some people consider the Golden Cross when the 50 comes through the 200. I like it from the 20 through the 200 because it gives you the short-term understanding. So for the ones who wait for the 50 to cross the 100 or the 200, they would wait. So you got the 20, 50, 100, 200. They would wait for this orange line, which is the 50-day. So the 50-day cross through the 100. Some people wait for that 50-day to cross the 200 to get the confirmation of a Golden Cross. I don't. For me to get the confirmation, as long as you back test the Golden Cross after it breaks through, like we have, and then you hold it, this is how I get my expectation. The fact we're breaking out against Bitcoin and then we back tested the Golden Cross, oh my God, this could be massive. And yeah, I know it's got the bearish bias, but this is when I'm most excited. I'm most excited when this happens. It don't matter where the chart's at. When the whales buy, we going up. I agree to disagree with you, my friend. I agree to disagree with you, Lonzo. Because the charts often tell you when they're lining up to buy. Haven't you ever noticed news comes out when a chart looks like it's going to break down, it'll be bad news all of a sudden on the TV? Or when a chart looks like it's about to break out, all of a sudden good news comes out? That's because I believe the elite and the ones who understand the game, they just are told once it hits this part of the formation, pay attention and buy it right there. Or wait when it gets into here, it's all manipulated. So when the trading bot hits a certain form or certain formula, you know, I think that's the truth. I think it's as simple as the charts. I think we go through gematria and all this other stuff because they're trying to make it look like you can't use the charts. I believe everything you can get in gematria and everything else has already been in design by the charts. The charts are already, that's like your code. The charts are the matrix of gematria. If you understand the charts, you don't even need to look any deeper because it's going to spell it out within the chart. I firmly believe that. So when everybody asks me why you don't deal with gematria, it's not that I don't. It's not that I don't deal with gematria. It's just that I believe I can decode it within the pattern. Don't quit my day job. Is that what you said, Josh? Well, you'd be blessed to be able to do what I'm doing, my friend. I promise you. Oh, I believe we're absolutely both right, Lonzo. There's no wrong answer. I believe you're on the money too because no matter what the chart say, even if it looks, and I love that you said that. You know why? You know why I love that you said that? Because Lonzo, even if the chart looks great, if the whales are selling, it's just going to fall through, right? Or even if the chart looks bad and then a whole bunch of whales coming out of nowhere or something unexpected happens, it blows the chart right up. So you are not wrong. The charts are not 100%. They just are, they're kind of like a guiding stone, like when you're on MapQuest or something, when you don't know where you're going. It's not 100%. You should be following it the whole way, but it's guiding you along the way. Sometimes it deviates from where you're supposed to go, and then you end up going in the wrong direction. You're like, where the hell am I at? This isn't what it looked like. And that's the same thing you can say on the charts. It gives you the destination to be. It can't tell you all the rocky intermediaries that end up being formed. Like, the chart couldn't have told us out of the pennant flag initially, right, that we were going to form this broadening wedge. It didn't tell us that initially. We did see that it could form like a falling channel, but until we got that final hit in the weekly and then came back down on support in the weekly, we just didn't know. But I'm not trading right now. I'm not trading. Just like you said, you're investing. That's what I'm doing right now. So I'm looking for opportunities as it comes down for things that I didn't own. So I was able to pick up, and I'm very happy about CBCN. I've got 2 million CBCN, and the fact that it gave me it right at the uptrend, and this is where I like technical analysis. We had this little formation that was set up. It was up in here. And then when it came down to the uptrend, it allowed me to buy at 7, what was it? 7, I don't even remember now. 7, I think 9 maybe, 7, 8. I can't remember because it was right at the uptrend. 7, 9, but it came through. I didn't get it when it came through. I wasn't patient enough to wait until the bottom of it. Once it hit this, I said, all right, it's going to hold it and come back through, hopefully. And I just bought the rest of it at, I think it was like 787 or 791. It's something somewhere in there. But this is the same thing, though. I'm not looking at this as a possible breakout. You guys need to understand what I'm looking at this for. For this one, assuming it gets rejected here, I've got a game to play with this one. So buying it from here, selling it out for 80% or 70%, 76% on a break up, because it still looks like a possible bear flag. So you have to be careful with this one, because I'm looking for I don't think it's going to break down yet. I think it's too early if it's going to break down. But I'm looking for a volatile swing back up that's going to be about 70% if it plays out. Now, as we talked about, and I just want to put this out while I have this chart out, we've talked about the potential here that doesn't play out, and then you'd have a short-term fall through, and you'd have to be prepared, because this is highly skeptical right now, that it could come all the way through. And that's why I want to be very clear about this, because that very well could be a bearish pennant. And if it is, I'm looking to hit it again up here. So if it could give me a quick 70%, and these are the kinds that typically will have a volatile surge. But look at that drop. If that drops out, like, much better buying opportunity down there than right here. Unless you're trying to play what I'm trying to play back up. But I've said this many times. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But if it does break through this, it would be unbelievably volatile to the upside. But that's what I mean. Like, I'm playing a 70% move. That may not even happen. So be very careful. I've tried to say this even before I promoted this one. Because the way the market is, it looks like we're going to have some kind of news that allows a surge. But if it's bad news, a few things are set up in these bearish pennants, kind of. And you need to understand what a bearish pennant is. It's no different than the Bitcoin dominance chart. I'm just looking for a very volatile swing. And if this could play out right... Me too, Lonzo. If it fell down like that, I would buy, like I already said, I would probably buy at least if it fell down 96%. Oh, I don't even know. I honestly don't even know, because I might even, at that cheap of a price, yeah, you're talking like you could buy 20, 30, 40, 50 million tokens. And it would be pretty interesting. What's got my heart racing right now is gold and silver, man. Whew. If gold and silver isn't telling us of some big dramatic event coming, I don't know what is. And nobody's talking about this crap. And it's not crap, but to a lot it is. But I've had this target for gold up at 4,115 since it broke out of this very long pattern formation. I love XRP Pennant chain. I just can't buy it nowhere. And if somebody can give me a proper fundamental place to buy it where I can actually buy it in the USA, please lay it on me. But for my own heart and my own soul, I can't keep covering it every day when I can't buy it, because it rubs me the wrong way. When I see something I want and then I can't buy it, it breaks my heart to always have to look at it. Ethereum's doing us some solitude here, up $50 today. We're still trying to make sure we don't break down out of these patterns and it actually isn't some kind of weird rising. Although you could say it's an ascending triangle, but still, I could see the rising wedge being talked about with this as well. Agree in life with a lot of what you say in between the lines. Yes, sir. Thank you, T-Bar. We can live on just water a couple days if we need to. We sure can, Jared. We sure can. If it falls like that, I'm buying XRP Healthcare. Ooh, XRP Healthcare is a good one I haven't looked at. And it's still maintaining in this range. Like, it still has this massive pattern consolidation. It's just, this one's very hard to chart because it's so volatile. Like, I've said it many times, I don't know where to put this. Because the uptrend's like this, and you know what's crazy about this? The uptrend is validated right now. That's pretty special. Like, that is pretty incredible what it did there. That's the uptrend from when the pattern started, and it actually backtested it at 7.9 cents. I know for a fact we talked about 7 point something cents that it could drop to. For anybody who hadn't bought, I said that would be my targeted buy area if I hadn't bought. I know for a fact we talked about that at 20-something cents. I don't know where to buy it, Shane. I've looked everywhere. And in the USA, it always says the exchanges I go to. Make a trust line with Zayman. Oh! I didn't even think about Zayman. Duh. Oh, don't I feel stupid? I didn't even think about that. I was thinking about ways to so all of our audience could buy it. And I'm looking on the exchanges that I can look on. And I wasn't even thinking about Zayman. Duh. Here's my sign. Beautiful. I don't know, man. This doesn't look awful. We came down and validated the uptrend. Now we just need to get back on top of... Well, I mean, we're basically there right now. Ooh. So, and this is... The cool thing about this for XRP Healthcare, this is on a massive cup and handle, folks. Like, that's a massive handle that's forming there. And just because of the way this is built, I mean, if this builds out, this is going to be incredible. That's going to be incredible if it builds out. We'll see, though. Like I said, I'm in no hurry with XRP Healthcare. They only have 100 million total tokens. And it's going to take time for it to build, but those are some nice inverted hammer candles, followed by what looks like a bull hammer. If that's the case, holy Toledo. Holy Toledo. Axelar, I don't know if Kryptonian's here. Axelar broke down initially out of, but we even said we don't know if that's the full pattern because it didn't give us all the evidence. We can only speculate. But I actually would like to look at this again. Now that it gives us deeper evidence and deeper, we still have the same highs. It hasn't created a new low yet. Actually, you know what? I take that back. It doubled bottomed around here. You can still look at it similar, but I think for Axelar, we can actually look at the all-time pattern now. It gave us a lot of evidence. And I added a little bit to Axelar when it came under 40 cents. Like it came down to 35 and I added a couple thousand. But I don't know if it's gonna pay off at this juncture. I was never certain in the beginning because I didn't know where the floor could be, but this might have been a floor tap. Because in the all-time pattern, it actually tapped it. Does everybody see that? A lot of times in these patterns, they come back to where they started if they fail to break out. And this one failed to break out, and it came all the way back to where it started on the uptrend. It got its support on the uptrend. And this one has connection with Ripple, as it turns out. At least partnering with, in a way, with Ripple, I suppose you could say. But we're still waiting for the minute details. I suppose you could say this is speculation and conjecture. But look at that setup. Now that it came back to the floor, I mean, if it breaks the floor, then it's going to be interesting. But it absolutely came back to the floor. And I love looking at it like that now. Because it came to the floor. Like, you had a consolidatory zone back here in 2023. That we had a big breakout, put a head and shoulders, and now it came back to reset. It reset, honestly. James, it's hard because it's either one of two things. One, I expect this bull run to happen. Well, it's the same thing as I've been saying. As soon as Ethereum starts running away from Bitcoin and the dominance drops on Bitcoin, a great spot to start would be a rejection right here, guys. A great spot to start for Bitcoin or for the alt season would be if this is a rejection. We snuck over, tried to. Let me get rid of this 63.21. We figured this more minute now. So a big spot to start for alt season would be if we get rejected at right here at 64% like we have right now. You're talking about a drop down to 42. That would be alt season, my friends. Alt season would be on this dump. So yeah, we have a bullish cross in the monthly. But let's say this does get a rejection. If you had a drop here in Bitcoin dominance, there's your alt season. Not saying it's going to take all the way until January of next year. I'm just saying that's your alt season. If this is a rejection top here, your alt season starting with underneath everybody. But this is traditional, guys. This is the Bitcoin dominance chart. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Oh, I'm living it up right now with gold and silver, my commodities and precious metals. Just because my portfolio in crypto seen an all-time high and got over 6 figures, that doesn't mean that that's all I trade. My commodities are doing spectacular. I bought gold at 1,600 with all of you and silver at 16, 17 bucks. And then we bought more along the way. I stopped buying gold when it got over 1,900. I stopped buying silver right around 23, 24. I did buy some at 25, but I stopped my monthly purchases. And I have not bought any gold and silver, like actual physical gold and silver in all of 2024 or 25 so far. What I've focused on was commodities falling out the floor, and it's paid off very well, about $20,000 so far. And then I focused on getting some PAX G to balance my crypto holdings because that's digital gold. And you can get PAX G after you have a certain amount of holdings. You can have it delivered to you, or you can just take it in cash value. But that's how I try to do it in the digital side. So I try to balance my stuff out, not just crypto, but with precious metals as well. And then I always have some cash on hand. I don't keep it in the bank because I don't trust banks. So, like, you got to be strategic about it. That's why I like to have, like, my liquid cash. I'll have it on the Crypto.com debit card. I have 25 grand on there. And it's FDIC backed up to 250K if you have it in USD on Crypto.com. So I have liquid cash that sits in there. That I won't send to my bank, that I'll use when I need to. But yeah, I have a nice setup for my own personal finances. I'm my own personal financial advisor. And a financial advisor cannot touch the gains that I've made in 4 years. You get the standard 3 to 5% with an advisor as long as the FANG stocks are doing what they're supposed to do. But once the market comes crashing down, you feel it. Big time. Nobody's exempt from it. So you have to be counterintuitive. And you also have to be a little bit of... you have to go against the grain is the best I can tell you. So if you're asking me for an Altseason, Tom XPR is available on MetalPay. I'm going to have to look more into MetalPay. I've heard people talk about MetalPay. Is that available in the USA? I think so, because you're telling me, Lonzo. And thank you for the $2 donation. Joseph, welcome in. What's going on, my friend? Welcome in, and thank you for being in Tom's Army for your first month. I really, really appreciate that so very much. Seriously, thank you for that. So if we're looking for an Altseason, we want to get this rejection here. I'm focusing more today on this chart because if that's a top and we have to come back to support, so look, support, resistance, right? Resistance, support, support, resistance. Even if we swing back and get a double top or whatever right here, we need to have this be resistance, and then when it drops down here, that would be Altseason. That drop would be Altseason. That drop from that resistance down would be your Altseason. And you know how I know that? 2021. Resistance, Altseason. Bitcoin season. Altseason. Bitcoin season. Altseason. You see what I'm saying here? So... if you understand the charts, you understand what needs to happen for Altseason. And I am telling you with 100% certainty, that has to happen right now for Altseason. Two things I don't like. That the bullish cross here in the monthly. And loan protocol is another gem on MetalPay. Ooh, I got to write this down. All right, so. Certain people speak, I listen. So what was that one? What did you say? I'm going to look into this on MetalPay. You said, what was that? Loan protocol? I can't even remember. Loan protocol. Okay. So I'm going to open up 2 tabs so that I don't forget. Loan protocol. And it was on, what was that? MetalPay. 2 birds with 1 stone here. Okay, so there's MetalPay, and there's... So MetalPay, I'm assuming... Link a debit or credit card, download the MetalPay, create an... Oh, beautiful! I'm going to look into this. Available in U.S. Metal... Yeah, Shane, unfortunately, I don't trust Uphold because of something that happened to me, and the same reason I don't trust... Kraken. On one occasion, I've sent $4,000 off Kraken, and it took over 30 days for them to release my funds, so I never trusted them from that day. And then on Uphold, they still have 1,000 of XRP from Julie's account that I had sent her long ago. And there was a total of about 15,000 on that. No, that was the account that had 10,000. It let me send out 90% of what I had. Or it was 7, whatever it was. It would not let me release the last 1,000 on Uphold. And they still have it a year and a half later. And they have not come to a resolution. So that kind of sucks because that's worth like $2,500 right now. So for that, I can't support Uphold. But what I can tell you is CBCN is on crypto.com. So if you're going to pay fees, you might as well do it in a trusted place where they actually have FDIC backing. And that, you know, that's my own personal, you know, what has happened to me. Not everybody's user experience is the same. So you have to make your own choices. But the Goldencross has happened on the XRP Bitcoin pairing as well. But this is Altseason in a nutshell. It's the past history has shown us it already. I should have shown this before. But if you look at 2021, right here. Once this top happened, we went into a dramatic alt season. And then it ended very quickly after. But then we came back up and Bitcoin's dominated throughout 24 and early 25. That's because we had a downturn in altcoins. And for alt season to be valued, for the evaluation, or if you want to evaluate and be like, how do you get the valuation of alt season starting? You got to get the top on the Bitcoin dominance. And right now it's topping if it doesn't break through. Which means alt season would start imminently on the drop back down to its next support structure. And that would be down somewhere around 41, 42%. In a traditional alt season, we go into March. It's only like a month long, though. That's what you got to remember. Alt season doesn't last very long. Month or two, maybe 3. And then it starts to trickle back towards Bitcoin a little bit. But this is how you get Bitcoin to die. Bitcoin surges, alt surge. Bitcoin has a little bump, alt surge. Bitcoin has a little bump, falls through, utility takes over. That's what we're looking for. It's just it takes time. And the trajectory of this says that this can last all the way until 2032. That's how I've always got that number. It's never changed. It's just I'm showing you it like this now. I've gotten better in my own analysis over the years. You know, I wasn't as good as I am now in 2021. I wasn't even close to being this good on the charts in 2021. But I could see what was going on. I just didn't understand all of the reasoning why. Now I understand the reasoning, but not everything. You see, there's the difference. I know a lot more than I did then, but I still know nothing. So if I know nothing, that means we all know nothing. And if we can accept we all know nothing, we know everything. And if that makes sense to you, you're in the right spot. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. I'm going to cut this off in a couple minutes. Julie's mom's here. We'll do a couple more minutes. We'll take a look at Algo for William. We'll take a look at DGB and XLM. But I had to get this done. I had to get this done in this fashion today because we had to get the understanding of the Bitcoin dominance chart and how we could signal and see for ourselves that alt season is signaled. And then also, I wanted you guys to see that Goldencross in the weekly, nonetheless, on the XRP Bitcoin dominance chart. That is incredible to see. That is incredible to see. And let's see. Oh, yeah. The whole reason I'm on here, if you're looking to trade crypto, we've talked about a lot of them. If you're looking to trade where I do, and before I even talk about that, thank you for the 31,100 subscribers now. We've taken out 31,000 in the last like 2 days. Since February started, we took out 31,000 subscribers, and now we just jumped over 31,100 today. So I really do appreciate that support. Like, it's growing. Like, I can't believe I'm saying we have 31,000 people in this audience. It's incredible. And yeah, we've put in work. We've done 5,300 videos since I started March 28th of 2021. So it's a lot of videos, but we've never missed a day here. So, you know, I take pride in the fact we've been here every single day, no matter what. BITUNIX, for me, it's the lowest maker-taker fee. I do a lot of trading on there if I'm doing swing trading, which I haven't done in a minute. But if I'm swing trading, I do it on there with the no KYC or VPN for USA and worldwide users. So you don't have to do the know your customer unless you want to. It's a no KYC exchange, which means you can't withdraw to a bank account. So that's how they get around having to make you do a KYC. Because you're not transferring through a bank account, you don't have to do it. And they have their papers in the USA. They never got rid of XRP, even during the 2021 era. I wish I would have known about BITUNIX all the way back then instead of Uphold. It would have saved me so much money and so much heartache. But they stayed true to the USA, and they've got their papers in the USA, so they're not going anywhere. And they're the lowest maker-taker fee that I've seen. They've got Axelar, they've got XRP, they've got IOTA, they've got so many different things that you can make a nice chunk of change there. And if you're a leverage trader, don't be stupid. Go to the lowest maker-taker, period. And if you trade a lot of funds and you don't want to be seen by the government, go to a no KYC exchange where your stuff is hidden, and then do your trades and then send it where you're going to go eventually. So have a plot where you can take your money and send it into, your own cash. Have a way to be able to have like a utility card, like a crypto.com debit card, so that you can have money on there so that you don't have to be sending it back and forth from your bank and so on and so forth. But I always like to have avenues. HOTCOIN has XDC, Velo, IOTA, and so on and so forth. Little higher on the maker-taker fee, but spot is pretty much dead set, the same as BITUNIX. I just trust BITUNIX more. I feel more secure there, if I'm being honest. Crypto.com, I encourage it. They got the Crypto Visa debit card, and it just makes my life a lot easier. You can send a donation through PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, but forget all of that crap with donations. I would much rather you, if you only have a few dollars, I would much rather you invest on your future and use the BITUNIX, or even if it's not an exchange that I use, find an exchange you're comfortable on. I'm not partnered with any of these places. I only show up because that's where I trade and that's where I'm comfortable at. I'm not going to talk about an exchange I'm not comfortable with and I don't have my own money in. So that's just the way it goes. But honestly, forget Tom's Army, forget sending donations. I encourage you to build a portfolio if you are low on funds. And just come here and support. All you have to do is hit the like button and share the content. You don't need to send a monetary donation. I can't be any clearer than that. That's why I don't charge for any of my content. I don't put any restrictions in the lives where you have to be a paid-only member to where you can comment and things like that. I want everybody to have an equal voice. But at the same time, if you're listening to me every day and you're not increasing your portfolio, you're not listening properly. And that's not being big-headed. I'm saying there's a lot of ways here to advance your personal portfolio. But you've got to listen to the keys and notes and just the things that might slip through the cracks of most people. Like when I talk about commodities, it's a great hedge against crypto. So if crypto's down, commodities are up. Commodities are down, crypto's up. And crypto is the ultimate risk asset. Don't let anybody trick you into the fact that it is a store of value. It is not. A store of value doesn't go up and down 50% every day. Okay? That's not a store of value. A store of value is gold, silver. It trickles slowly but surely, but as times of high times of inflation happen, the price comparative to your own native currency, it starts going up because it's money. It's money. It's been for eons and eons, and it'll be eons and eons after we are gone. Okay, long after Bitcoin goes away and long after digital assets disappear, gold and silver will still be mineable. You have you want to know how easy it is to get rid of digital assets? Ready? EMP, done, gone, goodbye. Sure, you have offsetting wallets and things like that, but you really think having a wallet offline is going to do the job when 99% is gone? So I like to have mine balanced. Some people are like, hey, you can't use your gold and silver if everything's out. Really? Really? Because they were using gold and silver during times before. Just think about it. So you want to be able to transfer your wealth in any kind of way and use it in any situation. So they can tell me crypto is a store of value, but that's not how I use it. Exactly. Gold teeth. People weren't ripping people's teeth out for no reason back in the day. But anyhow, let me cut through this real quick. No pun intended. XLM. Massive flag still. Massive cup and handle. It's just a matter of how long it takes to play through. Yes, it still fell back within its pattern. So on and so forth. Still on an inverse head and shoulders. But we got to get out of this to break out. We had a fake breakout. It fell back within. And if this expands on for much longer, we will rework this pattern. But right now, we're stuck at the mercy. We need to break over this about 36.2 cents and we're off to the races. With DGB still within this descending triangle or descending. I almost want to say it's a wedge, but it does look like a descending triangle. But it is getting smaller as it goes. Would you guys consider this a descending wedge or descending triangle? I'd love to know what my audience thinks.
Still no fever.
Really? And we didn't give him any kind of medicine today. What's he at right now?
98.2.
Ooh, perfect. My son's fever seems to have broken. It's at 98.2, and he has had no medicine today to bring it down. So I'm pretty sure it broke because he started eating by mouth last night for the first time in a day and a half. But as you guys know, he has a feeding tube in his stomach. So he gets all of his vital nutrients and things like that. But he started eating yesterday. He doesn't eat all of his meals and stuff. That's why he has a feeding tube through his stomach. But he does eat like crunchy stuff and some softer stuff, but he doesn't eat like real meals. So he goes to food therapy and stuff. He's special needs, and he had a very traumatic injury when he was younger, and I think his brain got scrambled a little bit and things like that. So, but he's a trooper. He's a trooper. Yeah, descending triangle I think makes more sense. I know some would say I think this is the epitome of a descending triangle, which are very bullish consolidations, and that's a massive one. And guess what? That descending triangle is basically just like the handle of this pattern on the short-term breakout. But now in the longer term, like I fully anticipate it to come all the way back up there in time. And then some. So that's my expectation. Some say, Tom, is it going to get to $1? Not looking at $1. I'm looking at that move to 30 cents in time. So that's DGBXM, and then I'm going to end it here because I want to hang out with Julie's mom and then catch up. So, and then we'll be back later. So Algo, 29.8 cents, starting to surge a little bit, up 2.6%. This has a beautiful falling channel, it looks like. And I'm not willing to change that. I still think it's in a falling channel. And these are bullish continuations. These consolidations, assuming they don't break down. And everything we're seeing, it looks like it's just in a cup and handle formation in the short term that's going to eventually build up to a massive cup. I think this is going to have a massive, massive, massive rally in time. It's like XRP before the 10X right now. It's in that same kind of consolidation as XRP before the 10X. So basically, you just need to stay inside of this pattern and not lose that 20 cent mark or 19 and a half. But eventually, we're going to have to break over 43 cents. But guys, I got to go. I got to blow my nose. I got stuff to do. Pay attention to gold and silver as well. Gold's over right about 2,800. Commodities are doing pretty good. We'll take a look at all this later. Have a blessed day. I'm XRP Future Million.